comes Mike Hawthorne, the American and Belgian entered Jaguars.
Aston Martin Racing, one of motorsport's spiritual brand-defining names, and with it a Hollywood legacy in the form of 007's Bond franchise. A classic car, a high-performance car, and now in perhaps its most ambitious goal, a Formula 1 racing car. In 2021, the British manufacturer will compete in the top level of motor racing for the very first time in over 60 years. And yes, while the team takes on the rebranding of the now very strong Racing Point team, the reputation of the company in near financial turmoil rests on one final opportunity. With the 2021 Formula 1 season set to bring back a full calendar of Grand Prix and transfer talk nearing completion in the appropriately dubbed silly season, the pink Racing Point will have a complete overhaul and switch to Aston Martin. These changes come early as the British team aim to solidify a new platform from which to accelerate off ahead of the regulation changes the following year. Current driver Lance Stroll will be joined by four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel to make a considerably strong lineup. But this video won't focus too much attention on what's to come, but rather explore how the manufacturer has reached this position and even how its current bid to the series began all the way in 2006. Over the past half-century, Aston Martin has won in nearly every GT series on nearly every continent. From classic car championships to British GT and even the American Le Mans series, post-war the constructor competed in 2 seasons in 1959 and 1960, but failing to bring home any points. But it was the famous Carroll Shelby that shifted the car culture towards a closed cockpit GT racing. And why not? Now the company could focus its limited resources towards developing a car that would go onto the mass markets and take P1 for being the flagship manufacturer for the great British motor racing. It became a symbol and icon of post-war Britain, and in the same way it became a fashion icon for the wealthy. But since then, the sport would go on nearly 50 years until a glimpse of hope on returning would happen. In fact, it can be said that Aston Martin's 2021 return truly began before either Hamilton or Vettel were even in the sport. Back in 2006, a company called ProDrive was granted access as a constructor ahead of the 2008 championship season. FIA President Max Mosley was impressed by ProDrive's bid, which beat off stiff competition from Carlin Motorsport, the John Alesi-led and McLaren-supportive Directive outfit, and BAR. But why is this important? Well, ProDrive would have the opportunity to have its name as Aston Martin Racing, and this was something the motorsport community would have loved to see. But this of course never happened. The access to Formula 1 fell short as despite a signed agreement with the FIA and company chairman David Richards, the 2007 season saw complaints against 2 teams, Scuderia Toro Rosso and Super Aguri F1, believed by other teams to already be using customer cars. The use of a customer car in an F1 championship and sold to another entrant is forbidden by the Concord Agreement. The Concord Agreement is the contract between the FIA, the F1 teams, and Formula 1 administration, which dictates the terms by which the teams compete in races and take their share of the television revenues and prize money. The current agreement expires at the end of 2007, and a new document has not been agreed as of November 2007 either. The likely outcome is that the status quo will continue into 2008. On this basis, in October 2007, the Williams team challenged ProDrive's proposed use of a customer car for its entry in the 2008 championship in FIA's International Court of Appeal. After a prolonged legal debate, owner David Richards announced on the 23rd of November that ProDrive F1 would not compete in the 2008 Formula 1 World Championship, as the legal situation left no time for the team to be set up for the start of the season. This is all tremendously very interesting in its own right, as the best way to defeat competition is to eliminate them altogether. Then, ahead of the championship's massive expansion in 2010, which saw 3 new teams enter the grid and further revisions to the powertrains in the sport, but Aston Martin was nowhere to be seen. They had since withdrawn itself from the entry in light of the 2008 financial crisis. Perhaps a smart move in the long run, but the manufacturer wasn't just finished there. Deep within the factories in central England were the company executives and chief engineers designing some of the world's most heart-stopping automobiles. The Superleggera, the new line of GTE cars, and of course a car which in part inspired this very channel, the Aston Martin Vulcan. A few years go by and come 2016 and Red Bull announced that Aston Martin will be their official title sponsor and thus accelerating the comeback. And finally in early 2020, amidst all of the problems the year has brought, it was announced that Racing Point will convert into Aston Martin Racing. There's just so much hype and anticipation around the Aston Martin team, and I just honestly cannot wait to see what they can pull out of the bag. Can Sebastian Vettel fight for race wins again? Can the Aston Martin Racing team fight for world championships? And of course, will that championship battle between Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel resume once more? Leave your comments below, thank you for watching, and remember, this is your all in-depth car review and motorsport journal.